to the 9/11 War Room, a weekly roundtable discussion that takes place every Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Tune in at 911warroom.com.
Welcome to the 9/11 War Room. My name is Gene.
My name is Sandra. Today is Sunday, December the 28th, last War Room of the year, and it's episode 215, right?
Yes, 215. Here we go. Got a bunch of stuff to get through, and the episode 5 of Crime Scene to Courtroom is going to be starting at 7 p.m. Eastern punctually, and Sandra and I have been asked to be part of the handling the questions and everything there. So we have a hard stop at 6:45.
Hold on, I think it's at 8. It's 5 p.m. Pacific, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not 7, that's 8.
Okay.
But we still need time because we're helping Gail and Richard.
And we have to eat dinner.
With the background, and we're having so hard stop, definitely.
Anyways, let's get started. I do want to start in some emails between Carl and ourselves. He had shared this, and it really impressed upon me who we're fighting for. Who are we all fighting for and what we're doing? People from across the spectrum of the 9/11 Truth Movement. As the greater 9/11 Truth Movement, we can't agree on everything. I think we can all agree on this. Who we're fighting for. Plaintiffs group, one of his lawsuits. Group B, the survivors of all plus or minus 2,753 alleged killed in the World Trade Center, 184 killed the Pentagon, those who allegedly died at the 4 jet airplanes, all 3 flights, and 93. The plaintiffs group C, all living first responders and or survivors of those involved in the post 9/11 cleanup, whether living, battling asbestos-induced cancer, or deceased. Also includes the WTC tenants of September 11th that were exposed and have survivors. Plaintiffs group D, all World Trade Center area residents and businesses willfully and negligently exposed to asbestos, whether living, battling asbestos-induced cancer, or deceased due to asbestos-induced cancer and have survivors. And plaintiffs group E, all U.S. military personnel sent to be maimed or die for a lie, and those permanently harmed by anthrax vaccines, whether living, maimed due to combat injuries, or deceased. And I want to add the other almost 350 million Americans today, the 8 billion people in the world that had this lie foisted on the entire world. That's who we're fighting for. And
exactly.
Thank you all for being part of that.
Fighting for the truth, really.
Mm-hmm.
And can't have a good earth without truth.
Yep.
Gene, let me add something to the last group there, the military.
Yes.
The anthrax vaccine, it has killed a lot of our soldiers, even as young as 18. And what they're dying from is either amyloidosis. We did a study on behalf of the military. We had 2,200 volunteers for a program to get the depleted uranium out of their body as much as we could and to treat what the symptoms were of those vaccines. Normal incidence of amyloidosis is like 1 in 500,000 adults. We randomly, out of the 2,200, selected 100 of those soldiers. 48 of them had advanced amyloidosis. Okay. And what that means is they're either going to die young or their joints are going to lock up on them. And they're basically going to wind up being debilitated and handicapped. The other thing it's doing is creating what is called deep vein thrombosis, DVT they call it, and that'll give you a stroke, a heart attack, or it'll give you what they call pulmonary embolism. It's either going to impair you or kill you. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing it's causing is called DIC. It's called disseminated intravascular coagulation. And the comment I made about Richard Gage and his observations on COVID-19, many of the people that had alleged COVID-19, they had to have body parts amputated due to DIC. And how that shows up is you'll have either swollen eyes that you can't even open, or you'll have black feet, or you have black fingers, where the smallest corpuscles are in your body. And then the last one, the Pentagon calls this mystery pneumonia. It's actually called eosinophilia. Now, what that means is the body fluids in your body are leaking into your lungs, and you're gasping for air because oxygen cannot get into your body. Almost every alleged COVID victim, when they went to the ER or the hospital or the doctor's office, they were gasping for air. And when we dug deeper, we found out that was due to the 4 vaccine makers who made the 2019, 2020 vaccines for the flu. And that was jump-starting what I just described to you. There was no amyloidosis found, but we found all kinds of DVT, DIC, and eosinophilia in who died. And we have like 82 autopsies, about 2,000 more are, to prove that in a court of law. So that's major finding right there.
Thank you.
And it was in chapter 5 of my book in 2004.
That is one-way ticket out of Texas. Thank you for sharing that. And,
2004 book. What's it called?
One-way ticket to Crawford, Texas.
Yep.
One-way ticket to Crawford, Texas.
Check it out. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if you can put any of that stuff in the chat, but
I will
I'd
do
like
that.
to have it handy. Yeah, thank you.
Because I have a tight schedule here and
Go ahead, Gene.
Thank you. Right after this, as we said, episode 5, crime scene to courtroom. The unmistakable evidence of WTC 7 explosions ignored by NIST. This will be a live broadcast starting at 5 p.m. Pacific. I guess that's 8 p.m. Eastern. Live on X. You can see it not only on 911c2c.org. You can also go to richardgage911.org. You can go to lcfor911.org, or I made the domain 911lawyers.org. You can go see it there. I want to show the trailer. This is about 4 minutes, so bear with me. This is what the episode is going to be on tonight.
NIST found no corroborating evidence to suggest that explosives were used. Yet, in the very same response to the 2007 RFC, they write, NIST did not test for the presence of explosive residue. Well, I don't imagine that they would find what they're unwilling to look for.
You just see columns just hanging from the floors, gaping holes in the floors up above us. There was an elevated car that was blown out of the shaft and it was down the hall.
You hear these explosions. In fact, I just heard another one. I'm hearing another rumble.
A building very close by causing another explosion.
We just heard another explosion go off a couple of minutes ago.
Another explosion, a rolling blast of fire, a rolling column of fire towards us.
Did NIST test any WTC-7 debris for explosives or incendiary chemical residues?
We judged that other hypotheses were not credible enough to justify a careful investigation.
This should have been the most thorough, protected, overanalyzed, over-tested, ongoing for probably months to years to determine how did this happen.
They advised us to leave because you have, oh my God, look behind us. This is it.
There were 2 blasts followed by 7 more, regularly spaced all in 2.5 seconds. When we hear the reporters say, this is it.
This is it.
The building has not yet started to fall. NIST is being dishonest.
This size blast would have produced an incredibly loud sound that was not recorded on videos of the collapse, nor reported by witnesses.
I was real close to Building 7 when it fell down. And the whole time you hear thum, 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 thum. I think I know an explosion when I hear it.
A series of concussive explosions.
Big explosion. Blew us back into the 8th floor.
Also the sound.
Like a balloon. Like an explosion.
More than one?
Yes.
They discredit these credible witnesses with dismissive statements like this.
They're just isolated anecdotes, pieces of information that really don't stand together in some kind of a meaningful fashion.
Explosion.
We've heard 3 explosions since both towers collapsed.
There have been about 4 explosions here since about 11 o'clock.
We just heard one more explosion. That's about the 4th one we've heard.
The 2nd and 3rd explosions literally have wreaked havoc on those field forces and those command centers.
How many of these witnesses of explosions were included in either the FEMA or the NIST report? 0. Not one of them.
Many of these eyewitnesses are trained, professional, experienced first responders, firefighters and police. And, you know, they know an explosion when they see and hear one.
Like freight trains underneath the earth, shaking the earth, even shaking me.
The peak seismic signal occurs at 5:20 p.m. and 42 seconds. But the building doesn't start collapsing until 10 seconds after that. So how can the collapse of the building possibly cause the seismic signal 10 seconds earlier?
You can't damage one corner of the building and have the building fall straight down. That doesn't happen in nature. In demolition work, you go to meticulous effort. And those charges have to be timed with precision on the order of 1 or 2 milliseconds in order to achieve that kind of symmetry. It would take a tremendous amount of explosive set, first of all, in the center column area, and then also at the outer wall. It obviously was a deliberate act.
That's that. And again, you guys can see it at 911c2c.org or richardgage911.org or 911lawyers.org. Getting back into corporate level news, I have Mamdani picks veteran EMT as fire commissioner. It says here, Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani named a longtime emergency medical services chief as the next commissioner of the city's fire department. A noble choice given his plans to lean heavily on EMTs to respond to mental health and homelessness crisis.
Notable choice.
Sorry, thank you. Yeesh. Lillian Bonsignor, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing her name, will lead the 17,000 person, $2.6 billion department after spending 31 years at FDNY, where she rose to chief of EMS operations from 2019 to 2022, a period that overlapped with the COVID-19 pandemic. She will come out of retirement to join Mamdani's administration, having stepped down in 2022 and worked as a consultant. The reason I bring her up is because she worked through 9/11. I'm hoping we could reach out to her, try to make a bridge with the firefighters like Captain Raul Angulo.
He just joined us.
Yep. Hey, all right. That's perfect. Yeah, we're going to hopefully reach out to this lady. Thank you, Raul, for joining. I was just mentioning the news article where Mamdani picks a veteran EMT as a fire commissioner for New York, and she worked through 9/11. So we might have somebody to talk to here.
Do you know her?
I do not.
Okay.
Yeah,
and we did
talk.
talk.
Wait and see.
Yep, we did talk to Sander Hicks. He's still going to try to work on.
Yeah.
So the 9/11 Truth Movement is a vast array of left wing to right wing spectrum, yes. And Sanders leans very left, which is fine. And he's going to try to continue to reach out to Mamdani. He had helped him with his election campaign, seen in pictures with Mamdani. And he is definitely 9/11 Truth friendly. Sander Hicks is, so he's going to be working that angle.
More than 9/11 Truth friendly. He's been involved in some very critical events and organizing, and he's in New York City, which is going to work out very well for our event planning. He himself is organizing something at the Quaker House.
Yeah, let's stick to this, then we'll get back to that.
Just because they don't know who he is.
Yeah. So yes, Mamdani picked her. What I don't appreciate about the article, because we really don't care, is the last statement here. Well, this one's okay. Bonsignor will be the second woman to lead the FDNY. And then it goes on to say, and the first openly gay person. We don't care. I don't care. Whatever. Just that's not the important part of the story.
Nope.
But the media can't help but hop on that. So again, Elon Musk, the FDNY veteran who worked 9/11 and COVID, isn't qualified to lead the department. He says to his social media site on Friday to decry the New York City's mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani's pick to lead the city's fire department, claiming that she couldn't do the job. The commissioner-to-be, Lillian Bonsignor, is a 31-year FDNY veteran who led the department's emergency medical services during the COVID-19 pandemic. She will be the second woman to hold the position and the first openly gay person to lead the department. They could have left that part of the sentence out. Like, really doesn't matter. That was enough for Musk to weigh in. People will die because of this, he wrote, adding, proven experience matters when lives are at stake. She was part of the FDNY for 31 years. A Gothamist reported before her retirement in 2022, Bonsignor was both the highest-ranking uniformed woman in FDNY history and the first woman to achieve 4-star rank. At the press conference announcing her appointment, Mamdani praised Bonsignor, saying that her record speaks for itself, and I got to agree. Before detailing her career in the city that spanned from before 9/11 through the worst of the pandemic. I know the job, Bonsignor said this week. I know what the firefighters need, and I can translate that to the administration that is willing to listen. I know what EMS needs. I have been EMS for 30 plus years. And also, this is writing on the back that Mamdani has said to the firefighters just recently that he will look into the rest of the boxes, the 68 boxes that they found, but they only released about 24. He has promised that he will look further into that because we need to know what happened in that dust.
Right. I thought, just explain what's in those 68 boxes.
Yeah. That the city had basically said, no, there's no evidence of anything in the dust and whatnot. And all of a sudden, 24 years later, we found 68 boxes.
With all kinds of information.
Yeah, so there's that. Moving on with the news. I shared this with Fran and Marty Hopper because they're trauma psychologists. It says here, 9/11 trauma physically altered responders' brain study finds. World Trade Center responders living with chronic post-traumatic stress disorder have measurable physical changes in their brains, new research shows, illustrating how trauma can leave long-term biological scars. The findings come from a new brain imaging study led by researchers at Stony Brook University, which examined responders who worked at Ground Zero in the aftermath of the 9/11 attacks. Using advanced MRI techniques, researchers found that the responders with chronic post-traumatic stress disorder showed clear differences in brain structure compared to those who were exposed to the same trauma but did not develop PTSD. In simple terms, the boundaries between different types of brain tissue appeared less distinct in responders with PTSD, which may affect how efficiently the brain processes signals, researchers said. Researchers were surprised by how widespread the changes appeared, affecting large areas of the brain rather than isolated regions. So I'll share this in the show notes if anybody's into that. Excuse me while I take a drink. I'm dying here.
You've only got about a minute till 5:20.
Yeah, thank you. I was just gonna
Thank you.
interject with that.
And I should probably pause because the next story is a little bit into it. We're close enough. So at 5:20, let me just explain for those that have never been part of this. 5:20 is the time when World Trade Center 7 collapsed. I've been using over the last 4 years, set an alarm on my phone at 5:20 goes off, just asking for a collective across all the time zones at this time when that happened that we just say a prayer. If you're not a Christian, whatever religion you are, just a positive vibe for 9/11 justice. And been doing this for 4 years, and I probably think around the world we got quite a few people saying something and holding this up. So I am a Christian. I'm just asking you to join me for a second while we just lift this up in prayer. Lord, I just come to you. I thank you so much for these hearts and minds that we're fighting for 9/11 truth. I don't know where this is going. It's quite the crew that we have together in the greater 9/11 truth movement, but we all have a heart for people that died, continue to die, and the injustice that happened. I just ask you would bless us, protect us, guide us, give us wisdom and strength to persevere in this fight. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. And not all my prayers are that short, and I don't typically scream from the tops, the rooftops when I pray, but this is just something I do, and it happens to overlap with the War Room on Sundays, so I'm not going to stop.
Yeah, it predated the War Room.
Yes.
So we just incorporated it.
All right, the next story. This is pretty wild. CBN, the Christian Broadcasting Network, is reporting stuff like this, along with a lot of other mainstream media. And I'm just going to play the first few seconds of this.
U.S. leaders say they're using every tool to convince U.S. citizens not to travel overseas to become jihadists. More than 100 Americans are believed to be fighting for ISIS and other militant groups in Syria. Their increasing strength is being compared to Al-Qaeda leading up to the 9/11 attacks.
They may have again a place to organize a major attack on the United States, and that's very serious.
ISIS presents the greatest threat that we've seen since 9/11.
Overall, thousands of Westerners have joined the fighting in Iraq and Syria on the side of ISIS.
All right, that's about all I want to say about that. I find this is interesting because Tucker just put out something like this in an American Conservative. I made this clip, so forgive me. The audio was added by me. The music was, but this is what Tucker had to say about that.
If you sincerely believe radical Islam is the greatest threat, then why aren't they asking the government? Why isn't Ben Shapiro asking the government to fully declassify the 9/11 files?
Right.
I wonder why that is. Any sense of why that might be? Seriously, if you really think radical Islam is that great a threat, tell me why you're hiding basic facts about 9/11. And the answer is, of course, it's not what they told us it was.
All right, there's my little ad lib with the music, but Tucker put that out there, and Candace Owens said this: "I'm just trying to spare you guys the inevitable billion-dollar, quote, ISIS is coming digital campaign, wherein a bunch of online influencers will suddenly pretend they are deeply concerned about the threat of radical Islam. Our concerns about the Middle East begin with the Israeli occupation of D.C. Hope this helps." She continued to say, "No matter how hard the GOP tries to make radical Islam happen, the base doesn't care about it. We are way more concerned about Israel. You can deny reality and scream about Tucker, but the party can no longer be governed by those who refuse to acknowledge the Zionist elephant in the room." So there's that. Just leave that for what it is. Next, I wanted to share. This is kind of neat. Let me stop my camera. The IFSJ, which we have been working with, the International Fire Safety Journal, put in their special influencers edition. Who were some of the special influencers? We got none other than Kurt Weldon. We've worked with Kurt Weldon. It speaks highly of him and his efforts to try to get new things changed for the firefighters on the federal level. Raul that has joined us. He wrote, we've been going to the NFPA conferences. On the third one, we appealed to the IFSJ that had their booth right across from our display. Raul had known the editor there, I believe, Duncan White, and Duncan invited him to write an article, to which Raul wrote a really long 3,000? 8,000, that's right.
10,000.
10,000. It was a long article. I'll put it in the show notes, but
words, not pages.
Yes, very long, and it resonated and caught the eye of Kurt Weldon. Kurt wrote it, and which prompted us to get a document together for Kurt Weldon to get to President Trump, which it hasn't got to President Trump yet, but
other good things came from it. Kurt Weldon was asked by Tucker to appear on his show.
So this is the picture of him presenting that document before Tucker, and later on in this interview, you can actually see the document laying in front of Tucker. You can see this document if you go to 911legacy.org. It's about 9 pages. So it's a short document, Carl, but it's there. You can actually...
And just to add further, that interview with Tucker is the one that actually lit the fire, because Tucker says it at the end of that interview, saying that he's going to be doing because this was like back in June, I think it was, and he says he'll be doing a series on 9/11 by the anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
And that threw us all for a loop, because Tucker was not very 9/11 truth friendly to us for many, many years. And we waited to see what that series would look like. There were some gripes about it being too kind to the official story. But overall, it's Tucker, and he normalized asking questions about 9/11, which is the biggest thing we could have asked for.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows where it goes from here. So never underestimate the power of starting something small that could lead to something big.
Yep. Next, you've seen this meme. I keep adding something to it, and I saw a recent person talking about these tactics of fallacies, and he called out unfalsifiable claims. And I'm like, well, I know an unfalsifiable claim. For those that don't know, an unfalsifiable claim is when someone makes a claim that cannot be proven false, making it immune to scrutiny. So here on the left side, you see the final report of the collapse of Building 7 by NIST with a picture of their model that they say that shows that it came down a progressive collapse. The only problem is the massive west wall deformation that you see here does not match any video seen that day at all. There's no west wall deformation. And then they go on to say, Patrick Gallagher, when asked for these building models and data to verify this new phenomenon of a fire-induced progressive collapse that's never happened in history and hasn't happened since 9/11, they say they can't release the files and data for verification because it might jeopardize public safety. Well, that's very convenient. Therefore, it's an
absolutely. We have to protect national security.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the UAF study puts it out with their model that anybody could download, WTC 7 report, and it is verifiable and says fire absolutely did not cause it to collapse. So, and it didn't jeopardize public safety. So there it is. That's that. And here is, you can go to NIST website, download their report. Here's the report in all its glory, and there's the cover, and you can see the lie right on the cover. Next news story. This is actually just some work that I've been doing. I want to share this. This is an old story. There's a picture of retired firefighter William Quick. He died in 2011. But something that's really interesting is we had the oral testimonies as released by the New York Times. I've been reading through David Ray Griffin's book. It's titled Christian Faith and the Truth Behind 9/11.
You're still screen sharing, so.
Whoops. Yeah, let me stop sharing that for a second.
I gave a copy of that to the preacher I grew up with.
Me as well. So that's a great.
He didn't want to read it.
Right. Well, what's interesting in it is a quote that I've been posting everywhere, and I didn't realize this quote came from David Ray Griffin about these oral testimonies. I just want to read it real quick to you. The above quotations, which he's naming some to talk about explosives, come from a collection of 9/11 oral histories that, although recorded by the FDNY at the end of 2001, were publicly released only on August 12, 2005, 4 years later. Prior to that date, very few Americans knew the content of these accounts or even the fact that they existed. Why have we not known about them until recently? Well, back then, 2006, I think he wrote this. Yes. Why have we not known? Part of the answer is that the city of New York would not release them until it was forced to do so. So early in 2002, the New York Times requested copies under the Freedom of Information Act, but Mayor Michael Bloomberg's administration refused. So the Times, joined by several families of 9/11 victims, filed a suit. After a long process, the city was finally ordered by the New York Court of Appeals to release the records, with some exceptions and redactions allowed. Included were the oral histories in interview form provided by 503 firefighters and medical workers. Emergency medical services has become a division within the fire department. The Times also made these oral histories publicly available. So here on this website, anybody can come and download these. The PDFs are all here for each and every person. And I was interested in this gentleman's something he said. This is William Quick. You can go, you could download it. What I did is I put all of them together in one, whoops, getting ahead of myself here, into one document so that we can search them. So Graham McQueen had done this to bring up explosions or sounds of explosions, where he found 156 witnesses mentioning explosions. I was interested in the high heat of the dust. And I just want to read one account of this William Quick, rest in peace, where he talked about the high heat in the dust. So forgive me, so I'm going to do a little reading here, but in remembrance of William Quick. It says, the ambulances were parked like on, by your car? Yes. By Church and Vesey? Yes. And this is about right before he's going to talk about building the World Trade Center 2 collapsing. And to give you some idea of where he was, we're talking right here. He's sitting at Church and Vesey, which is right there. You can see World Trade Center 2 here. So he's in relatively close proximity to the World Trade Center. Go on to read. My goodness, I got to get my tabs straight here. Yes, by Church and Vesey, yes, there were police cars, an emergency services truck right there, a couple of police cars. The ambulances were right there. When I started to run back, all of a sudden I heard a rumble. Now all of a sudden I see people running towards me. I said, all right, maybe part of some plane fell off in the building or a section. I had no idea that the whole building was coming down. And I lost my place. There it is. So what happened was that there was by 5th Street, which he must have meant by the building 5, because there's no close 5th Street. 5th Street's way up here near Central Park, or there's another 5th Avenue, 5th Street, which is in Brooklyn. So I don't know why he mentioned 5th Street here. There was like a doorway. It wasn't really a doorway. It was just like an I-beam. These I-beams, this is 4 and this is building and 5 building. So he's talking about building 5. These I-beams were right here. This is where I stood for the first blast, and the entranceway was a little further up from the subway. It's getting better. Hang on. I stood here.
Just a little point of clarification. Some people call them I-beams. Some people call them H-beams.
H-beams, yes, on their orientation. Yes, thank you, Mike.
Way to turn it. Yeah, you're welcome.
Yep. I stood here with that. Gray smoke came, and all of a sudden, black smoke came. When the black smoke came, it was such a high heat that I had to get down on one knee. The heat was so intense that I laid on my stomach. I laid on my stomach. At this time, I was laying on my stomach. My head was hiding inside my coat. And I was just saying to myself, you have been on this job 20 years. You have been through every tough fire and every situation. You have survived. You know what to do. Just hang in there. You know, I'm breathing inside my coat, breathing inside my shirt and my T-shirt. You are in the middle of the street. Just stay alive. With that, someone steps on me, and the guy said, who is that? I said, fire department. The guy said, I think I'm burnt. I said, pal, I can't even see you. I said, just stay next to me until the smoke rises. I will see if I can take care of you. It took a good 10 minutes. It was a beautiful, clear day. Explain this to other firemen like I was in a bedroom with a mattress fire. That's how intense the smoke was. And for me to hide inside my coat and not be able to breathe was pretty intense. The high heat. This guy thought he was burned. Did he stay with you? Yes, he did. Yes. He was in a fire department EMT. He was a fire department EMT. Then after a good 10 minutes, the smoke lifted where you could see each other. It was just snowing out from the dust and the soot and everything like that. This guy had 3 inches of hot soot on top of him. So did I. I stood up and brushed my eyes off and got all the stuff out of my mouth. He started shaking. He was wearing a short sleeve shirt. He probably didn't have his jacket on. He didn't have a jacket on. The EMTs, you know, it was a crystal clear day. I brushed off his arms and everything. He kept looking at his arms, and he said, oh, man, my arms are so warm. From what I could see, it doesn't look like any burns. Maybe you have like a sunburn or something like that. I said, you're all right. He said, yeah. I said, you're okay to walk and everything? He said, yes. He just left, never saw him again, and he went on his way. So a lot of other people had mentioned how when the buildings fell, these dust clouds moved at roughly 160 miles an hour. And there's multiple mentions of the hot and high heat of this dust. So I'm going to start doing a Graham McQueen search myself, try to assemble these all into one document. And I just wanted to share that with everybody.
And it might go a little bit quicker than Graham McQueen, who had to read through 12,000 pages just to assemble his testimonies. We got tools now we didn't have back then. Yeah. And yeah.
So rest in peace, William Quick. Next thing I wanted to share, Turning the Tide. The website is up at turningthetide911.org. This is a review of what happened at the event this last September 11th. You can go and see all the talks in the gallery. We mentioned this last week, but I also just want to mention we're starting the planning for the 2026 event in New York City, so you could stay informed. Down at the bottom of the page, you can sign up to receive updates about Turning the Tide 2026 and ways to get involved. That's there again at turningthetide911.org. Check it out. Next thing, some memes that I made, and then we're going to open up the table here shortly. I make hard-hitting memes to try to get under people's skin, and one person that I want to get under his skin is Howard Lutnick. Why do I want to get under his skin? Because of what I consider Lutnick's 9/11 betrayal. He lost his brother and 656 colleagues in the Twin Towers. So like, well, why would you attack the guy? Well, as Secretary of Commerce, he oversees NIST. And he alone holds the keys, no, not alone, but he holds the keys to releasing the building models and data we just mentioned previously, and he hasn't done it. There's some concerning things because he's he bought his mansion off of Jeffrey Epstein and lived next door to Jeffrey Epstein for 17 years. And now he's in position to be able to release Building 7 models and data, which would show the cause of why his brothers, the 657 other Cantor Fitzgerald employees, and everyone else, the 2,953, 753 people had died that day. But he won't do it. So it makes you wonder. He is quoted as saying that Jeffrey Epstein is the greatest blackmailer of all time. Well, what a funny thing to say when you're living next door to him. There's also some information. I made another meme to try to poke fun of him. This is an old Gary Larson cartoon. We've all seen it. Well, damned if you don't. Well, damned if you do release the World Trade Center 7 files, and damned if you don't release them. I would hope he would do it for the honor of his brother, but we know he probably has some dirt on him and he's not going to share anything. But then again, that's just speculation. I also, you folks remember this painting about George Bush with the plane, the Jenga towers, and everybody thought this was hanging as an artwork in Jeffrey Epstein, New York City mansion. Well, there's nothing solid saying that. I can find some leads that it may have been in his Florida home, but again, I can't find any proof of that. But I thought, let's use AI to have some fun and poke it at Howard Lutnick. So I made this. There's talks that Ehud Barak, there's pictures of Ehud Barak with Jeffrey Epstein in front of chalkboards discussing some Israeli planning. And I thought, let's just have fun with this. Here's Ehud Barak, pictured with Jeffrey Epstein and Howard Lutnick, the next door neighbor, in front of a chalkboard talking about 9/11 with George Bush and the Jenga Tower. So just little things to try to get under Howard Lutnick's skin, whatever you could do. But you got to be careful with AI because AI will get things wrong. And here's one great example. Some of you may have seen. I shared this and asked AI Grok, hey, who's this guy in this picture? And it says, the elderly man in this viral reel holding a cane and confronting Kash Patel with the overlaid text about graping kids, you're an idiot, and Patel responding, I didn't say anything, is Gene Laratonda. I'm like, that's interesting. Goes on to say Gene's a Pittsburgh-based construction site manager, union carpenter by profession, but he's well known in certain online activist circles as a dedicated 9/11 truth advocate. He hosts a weekly blah, 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 blah. Well, I got that part right, but that's not me. I've seen better days than that picture. So just watch Grok because it will make stuff up. And
you have to double check all of that. Wasn't that also with
I saw that. That's you.
Mm-hmm.
Even Gene did a search for specific quotes.
And it made up quotes.
It made up quotes.
I asked it to scan that document that I just shared you about the hot dust, and it made up quotes. I'm like, wow, these are great quotes. And I went back to search for the quotes. They didn't exist anywhere in the document. Like, wow, it just made them up. So definitely check your work. Don't trust Grok
Take it
or
with
any
a big
AI.
fat grain of salt.
One meme that I made with all these redactions going on. You may have heard that some of them you could actually copy the redaction and paste it into a ad, and it would show you what was behind it. I couldn't pass this up. This is everybody knows what that typically says. It's a great meme that went back in the day of the 9/11 truth movement, and I just thought that was kind of funny. So that's all I had. And that's everything I got for 9/11 news. Let's open up the table. There is, I should mention, forgive me, I guess I'm not quite done. Boston 9/11 Truth is to have Dr. Richard Ellifritz on this January 8th. It's at 6:30 p.m. Dr. Rich Ellifritz spoke at the IC event for the third annual David Ray Griffin Lecture. If you haven't seen that again, please see it. There was a panelists afterwards, Jason Burmis, James Corbett, Sandra Laratonda, and Madhav Vassetti. But he will be available. He's going to give a presentation, and you can do a Q&A. So look forward to that as well. Coming up for Boston 9/11 Truth, January 22nd, Dan Noel is going to be interviewed, and on February 5th, Sibel Edmonds, or however you pronounce her name, Sibel Edmonds, or
Sibel Edmonds. What's the date again?
That would be February 5th.
Thank you.
Yep. And now I think I'm actually... one more. I'm trying. I put this out there to try to... Sandra and I don't make any money off of this. We work full time. We haven't made a dime off of this in the years that I've been doing this. I just do it for the love of 9/11 justice.
It's actually impoverished us.
Yeah. I've actually spent a lot of money on this. And I've asked people, hey, could you best caption for this I'll send you a free t-shirt. It says Jets fuel can't melt steel beams. The reason I made this t-shirt is Aaron Rodgers was with the Jets, and he had said, hey, read up on that, talking to a teammate, Deshaun Kaiser. And I thought, hey, I have extra shirt. Let's throw it out there. The best comment. I'm going to say it's Steve Palacino. For those that don't know Steve Palacino, he lost his dad, Steve Palacino, on 9/11. He also recently lost his mother. We all remember as a great 9/11 truth activist, Jane Palacino. His comment was, and he made a couple variations. He said, I can't tell if you guys are watching the last Jets game or a play of the South Tower collapsing at free fall. And I corrected him, acceleration. He made a second one, said the Jets and 9/11, two things that will always haunt me. But he has a sense of humor about him. God bless him. God bless his father. Difficult subject. I don't like to make humor of it. But with all that Steve has, his mom and dad went through in this battle, and he's still an active 9/11 truth advocate, I'm going to send him that t-shirt. So hope everybody understands on that one.
Just to make it official.
I'll tell you what, I'll send you $100 for a free t-shirt. You didn't like my comment, truth never sleeps.
Yeah.
Well,
there were a lot of good ones.
Yeah, there were great ones.
But I gotta hand it to Steve, and just that he lost his parents, one in 9/11 and one just in the years afterwards. So hope you guys can understand that.
I understand.
He's a worthy recipient.
So we got hands up.
Very, very worthy.
Anybody have any new 9/11 truth news? We'll go with Magnus. Good to see you, Magnus from Norway.
Great to see you, Gene and Sandra, and sad to hear all the stuff that has happened to Steve, but very great news otherwise, Gene. I can't believe you have time to find all this news and explain them so good. It's very great. I'm sharing them later. I actually have a few videos in the chat if we do have time.
All right. Are they relatively short? Let's
Yeah, they are short, and I wrote wrong on that one with the 2 minutes and 19 seconds. But I start with explosion.
Start with explosion. I'm scanning real quick. A lot of people chat.
Okay.
Mike, Ross, Magnus, explosion. Here we go. Share the screen, scan the sound, and
Thank you, Gene. I think it was in the first 10 seconds or the first beginning we heard some explosions.
Yeah, there was some snapping going on. I can't be sure exactly what that is. That's looking at the north side of World Trade Center 7. Thank you for that one. And you had one other one at 2 minutes into the video.
Yeah, thank you. That's the 7 World Trade Center.
This is Ashley Banfield reporting where she catches them. The explosion. Oh, wait, maybe not. It depends on where you are in this video. 2 minutes in. Here we go.
Yeah, very interesting. Thank you.
Who were standing around looked at it, felt a bit shocked, but then just said, well, we're going to have even more work to do. Associate producer Lucy Kerrigan had been over near that building just a little bit earlier, and the policeman had told her that they feared the building was going to come down, that they were evacuating.
Okay. It either froze or
people from around it.
So but there are a number of emergency vehicles that are now coming out of the vicinity of number 7 World Trade Center that has just gone down. And I just wanted to let you know very quickly, before that, number 6 World Trade Center went down, and housed in those buildings had all been cleared out after the first plane hit the World Trade Center this morning. So there was some speculation that there's not a soul in those buildings at the time. Certainly number 7 that just went down as we were live on the air earlier on with MSNBC was cleared out. Most people, they said earlier that they were just waiting for that building to go down. So they were expecting this to happen.
Today, the collapse of 7 World Trade.
Thank you, Gene.
Yep. Thank you, Magnus. That's all of them, I think.
I think I have a few more. They are very short.
Well, it's we'll come back to that because I got some hands up.
All right, thank you, Gene.
Thank you, Magnus. Appreciate you. Let's go to whoever Zoom user is. Lou. Hey, Lou.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Just wanted to say thanks for your hard work, Gene. Those memes are great. Good job.
Thank you. I try. I'm not a brainiac, but I know how to poke fun. So,
in his sleep.
whoops, sorry.
Humor, satire is how to get to them.
Yeah.
Satire is how to get to them.
That's
Yeah.
what I did from 1 a.m. in the morning till 4 a.m. Thank you, Lou.
You're our satirist.
And I guess that was all the hands. Anybody else new 9/11 news for the group this week? Or anything they wish to discuss? Or I'll go back to Magnus with any other videos he had. All right, Magnus, what do you got else? What else do you have?
14 seconds into the Rudy Giuliani video.
14 seconds. I'm looking for it, unless you reposted it.
I'm gonna try.
Rudy. I see Rudy. Let's try that one.
Oh, yeah, that's the one. 14 seconds into the video.
14 seconds into it. Let's do it. Well, it's pretty. Well, it's only a 21 second. We'll just.
Still a tremendous smoke condition. The doctors here said that there's a lot of damage that have been done to people's eyes, and the smoke condition is still horrendous. There are still some buildings that are structurally unsound that could come down, so they have to be very careful so that we don't lose more lives.
Thank you, Judy. So they are firing more buildings in the afternoon, so I'm suspect. Looks like 7.
Thank you. And you said this one going to 2 minutes and 19 seconds.
Oh, that's
Wait.
the one.
No, that can't be 2 minutes.
That's the video I wrote wrong into, so just starting from the beginning.
19 seconds into it. Oh. Okay.
Now, one of the things that we've witnessed within the last hour was the collapse of Tower Number 7, which is part of the World Trade Center complex as well. As you
Forgive me, my computer to overheat.
all day, this has been on fire most of the day. This was expected to happen.
47 stories, not nearly as big as the 2 towers which once stood behind us, but no small building with 47 stories.
Now, from what we're hearing on the street, rescue workers are still having a very difficult time getting into the perimeter area surrounding.
Thank you, Gene. I think it was the important part that they expected that building to come down, yes.
Thank you. I think that's all of them.
Yeah, it looks like that.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing that, Gene.
Yep. Thank you for finding some videos for us. Where are we at? Actually, this is fantastic. We're making really good time. Nobody has any other 9/11 news strategy activism. Al, you're up.
Yeah, unfortunately, we missed the Boston Tea Party reenactment, which actually ended up being quite large. And I was dealing with kidney stones. Chris Berger was dealing with a contractor, and Sue was on her way out to California. So I guess we'll wait until next year. But that's a good one because there's a lot of 9/11 related, parallels, I guess you'd call it. So anyway.
Yep.
So be it.
Hats off to the Boston group. One of our older groups, more experienced, we'll say. A lot of wisdom in that group. So thank you. Check out their new website they got. It's at boston911truth.org. And they do have all of their history of guest speakers that they had. I mean, Sue's landing some big ones here. He had Mark Rossini on. That's pretty impressive. And getting Sabelle Edmonds on here, just fantastic. So check them out, boston911truth.org. Thank you, Al. Mike, yes. I'm sorry. The last tap call just this past Tuesday on the past, present, and future of where the 9/11 Truth movement is going. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, thanks, Gene. This Tuesday, we're going to have our second town hall meeting and elaborate more on the best evidence examples that should be in the report to Ron Johnson. And I was hoping I could get some input from anyone here today on what they feel are the best evidence examples. So if we could, I'd love to hear.
Thank you. If anybody will have that's open there, if anybody wants to bring that up. I know Carl Schwarz is with us. Sorry, Schwarz or Schwartz? Do I pronounce the T?
You just do it the American style, Schwartz.
Schwartz. All right, thank you. Carl Schwartz had sent an email into Ron Johnson and Representative Luna on evidence that he feels should be heard. So I haven't gotten through that, but yeah, thank you for that. And Mike put that on the table. So if anybody else has any comments on that, once I get through the hands here, I'd love to hear it. Thank you, Mike. Benjamin.
Hey guys, I just saw that James Corbett uploaded a 5-hour-long documentary, one of his. I don't know if he's ever uploaded it for free on YouTube before, but it's called False Flags, The Secret History of Al-Qaeda, and I started watching it, and it's really good, so just want to let you know that that's available for free in case it wasn't previously. I'm not sure, but it's pretty good so far.
Excellent. I don't see it on his website, so he just must have published it just on YouTube.
Yeah, that's where I'm watching it. It's called False Flags and then The Secret History of Al-Qaeda Corbett Report.
Let me just check it out real quick so I can have it in here.
If you need a link, I'll put it in the chat too.
Let's see. I usually get it pretty quick. Corbett Report. Oh, there it is. Bing. Thank you.
One of the things that's happening is that there's all this hacking going on, right? So you go to look for something and you can't find it. It was there and now it's not. So
there it is. False Flags, The Secret History of Al-Qaeda. James Corbett, he's a monster. So 5 hours. Man, he's pulling out the Massimo Mazzucco kind of. Jeez. We'll check that out. Thank you. That's another problem. All the stuff we see, finding the time to watch all this is just, it's a lot. Thank you. Thank you, Benjamin. Appreciate you bringing that to our attention. Ross. You're still having a problem. You're unmuted, but we cannot hear you. Keep trying. I'll come back to you. B.O.B. Good to see you. What do you got?
Hey, in terms of what to point out, on the recordings that were done on the day, right after Building 7 falls, one of the professional commentators on the TV, one of the talking heads on TV, says this is reminiscent of when you see an old building demolished on purpose when they intentionally take it down. And what he's doing, he's saying this looks exactly like a controlled demolition. And he goes, okay. I just wanted to throw that out there and say we have professional news people that pointed to, hey, Building 7 looks exactly like a controlled demolition.
Yeah, and on that note, architects and engineers, maybe some 7 or 8 years ago, put out a compilation of exactly that. 36 reporters, journalists, people on the scene, covering in the media, who all, in that moment, on that day, you know, the non-scripted reporting, all made mention of that. And of course, the one you're mentioning is Dan Rather, which is actually Gene's alarm. It's his 520 alarm. That voice of Dan Rather making that report. So yeah, it's very well documented, and I am sure that it'll find a place in there.
Thank you, Bob. Jetty from Scotland. Good to see you, sir. You're unmuted and we can't hear you either. He's figuring it out. I have faith.
You're wrong to have faith in any Scotsman.
Technology. Ross, did you come off? Did you figure your thing? Oh.
Did I figure it out?
Yep, you did.
Am I being heard?
I'll come back to you, Jerry. Go ahead, Ross.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, I had some stuff in the chat
I don't know, but it kind of, I guess it all disappeared, but it must renew itself after a while, the chat, I guess, which is important because I probably won't be around for a few weeks, pretty busy with other things. I wanted to know, one thing I did want to know, Gene, is, since you can say it quickly, who are the 5 people again? I know it's Richard and Ted. I know you didn't want to say this again, but I did miss 3 of the people. I know Richard, Ted, and the other 3 are for contacting Ron Johnson, or that are putting together the 2,000-page report.
Yes. 5 people: Ted Walter, Gage, Attorney Mick, and Pierce.
Okay, that last one I didn't get the last one. It kind of broke up.
Pierce Robinson, board of the.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. So the comments I had in the chat were important.
He's also part of the group called Propaganda and Focus.
No, Propaganda and Terror.
Thank you.
And Focus. That most.
Yeah, I know who that is. I know who he is, of course. I just had missed it earlier. So I just hope we all can get to ground zero on the 25th anniversary, and basically be ready to take the bull by the horns, each and every one of us as individuals. Richard's got his plate full, and they do, and they're the ones to take it forward. I think it's. I don't really have much faith in it, but we need to be able to capitalize on whatever they do if there's success, and if it's a big failure, we need to be able to move on and kind of distance ourselves from that. So be ready to do what we need to do as individuals, and whatever we do, we know what Richard's going to be doing, and those people. And be careful, of course. Ron Johnson is just like the Spike Lee with steroids, I think, in terms of just the potential for a problem there. But and as Mike would say, Mike Sarazano, when he talks up the right side of his mouth, you want to listen to that. But I do think that the catering to the younger people is going to be the big key towards getting the movement, continuing the movement, or whatever happens with this Ron Johnson era, and it will continue. And so let's try to appeal to the young people. I think AI false flag wars are going to be a thing, and that is something they will pay attention to. I believe the Gen XYZ are so involved in the AI, which is kind of unfortunate. If we can kind of link the false flag of 9/11 with the future false flags of AI wars, I think that's another thing that we want to be able to promote alongside anything else that's going on the 25th anniversary. So get to ground zero, get to New York however you can. It's not the easiest thing to do, but do it.
You
Yes.
are aware that we're organizing a huge event in New York, right? I mean, we're all going to be there, so don't worry about us not showing up. There should be a couple of hundred activists, maybe. I mean, I don't know how big we can make it. And spreading it over 4 days, and specifically building in time.
Hang on. Well, if you could turn your speakers down a little bit, because coming back through it's really rough.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm on a bad connection today, so I'm surprised it even works. But yeah, so I suppose you're right. This call, everybody on this call will be there probably, right?
Wow.
In New York City.
No. Depends. I mean, not everybody's in the northeastern part of the state. It's a lot to ask Texas or California. Raul will be coming in from California, so that's very exciting.
Yeah, okay, well.
Next week. And people will be coming just like they came mostly from the area, but some from pretty far. So, here's to hope.
Okay. Yeah, that's I'm hoping to see as many people as possible there. And whether they go or they don't go to the main event there at Turning the Tide, they should get to ground zero. And I would say, too, I got connections with the Mamdani people, very tight ones. And I know Sander, well, of course, and I know he has contacts. Yeah, I know he has contacts, but I have a very specific idea that he just keeps kind of dropping that it's going to happen. based on the contacts I have there and based on what Mamdani is saying, I'm not going to get into specifics because I don't want to give up the ghost or, give it up. So, especially if Sandra Hicks is going to get involved. So, but there is some potential there, I think, for us to really have some big impact around the 25th anniversary. So hopefully that works out. I'll let you know if anything. It probably won't develop for a while till May because I won't get into the details. But anyhow, so hopefully that's another thing that happens. Something with Mamdani big regarding 9/11 truth.
Do you have an open line, a direct line to Sandra? Or do you ever
Yeah, I do. But I know Sanders' approach has always been quite a bit different than mine, and my approach is going to be very different with Mamdani. It's not political at all. I'm not, and Sanders is all about politics. So is Mamdani, of course. He's the mayor, but I have other contacts and some of the other policies that Mamdani is discussing, which are not political. They're just what his vision for what he wants to see New York as are right in line with what I'm thinking. And I know, and I've been thinking about it before Mamdani. So it's just kind of all coming together. Hopefully it does, but it's really out of the realm of the kind of thing that Sandra Hicks would be helpful. Well, he might be helpful at some point if I need to get some kind of other political in with Mamdani, but I don't think it's his focus at all. So I'll probably just try it on my own because I have contacts there that are pretty high up. So I'll just try those first anyway.
Nice. And I do want to say one thing about the Ron Johnson thing. We go with what avenues present themselves. There was an avenue that possibly opened with Trump, and so far Trump has failed us. But there's an avenue now with Ron Johnson. Believe me, I'm aware that he has taken over $200,000 from AIPAC. So there's we got to be prepared that what might not happen. But this avenue has presented itself, so we're going to try the best we can with that. Be prepared that we're going to move no matter what. Yeah, Mike.
Closer to 500,000.
What's that?
Johnson's taking closer to 500,000 from AIPAC.
Oh.
Even 500,000 is pocket change. Okay.
No, it's actually three. Yeah.
Only compared to Trump.
The latest on AIPAC is 347,000. So yeah. Somewhere up there, a lot. It's not good. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Mike.
It's not good. It's not good. I'm concerned. I'm hopeful. I hope it happens.
Yep. Hey, Jerry, did you get your mic working back? I hope so, because I'd love to hear from you. See if he's there.
He said no in the chat.
Oh, bummer. All right. Let's thank you, Ross. Let's go to Lou. You're muted.
Thank you. Two things. Mike Zarzano wanted, something we can show to, like what they can say, the elevator pitch. Show them the Building 7, of course, but a few of those quotes that we heard from Magnus, the reporter. The explosions, 3 or 4 of those, not too much. There's such a thing as too much of a good thing. So that's first. Secondly, as far as building the coalition, January 10th in New York City, Diane Sayre is, and she's a longtime associate with the LaRouche Foundation, and a lot of us know of Larry LaRouche as being jailed in the Vietnam era for dissenting against the military madness that continues to this day. And Diane Sayre is announcing her candidacy for president, and she's going to have some bigwigs there. When I spoke to one of her LaRouche friends, Karen Knopfinger out of Baltimore, I suggested get Dennis Kucinich there at that announcement. It seems to me Dennis Kucinich is very important in terms of raising awareness of the necessity of addressing this false flag attack that metastasized the lone gunman of Oswald killing Kennedy and has now got us to the point of Christian fascism, as Chris Hedges writes, And thank you for listening to me.
Yeah, I was trying to find, there was a picture of Diane Sayer was at the Turning the Tide conference. So I think you saw her there as well, Lou. It's great to see that she attended that. So thank you.
Yes. The LaRouche, they're natural allies for us, the LaRouche Foundation. But their big thing is preventing nuclear war. They've got some really heavy hitters, including some ex-military officers. Who am I thinking about? Scott, former military officer, trying to improve relations with Russia. Their emphasis is on stopping the Ukraine war. I call it Cochrane, because of the international drug trade and the sickness that it's at the heart of the what I call the hashtag nefarious New World Order. Thank you for listening to me. I yield.
Thank you, Lou. Mike.
If American people stop buying the drugs, it would stop.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. But thank you. Zarzano, go ahead.
Yeah, that's why we need the death penalty for drug dealers. Give them about a 6-month notice, mass media notice. Stop selling drugs in 6 months or you die. That's how you solve the problem. But
no, it's not how you solve the problem. The market is going to exist. The market exists for these substances. And we need decriminalization to remove the black market stigma of drug abuse. And I'm a longtime marijuana, recreational and medicinal user. And when you say drugs, you've got to specify the cocaine and the heroin and the opiates. Those are the two biggies. Well, fentanyl now, who knows? But there are only two types of drugs, those that stimulate and those that depress. And alcohol is still the #1 drug in this country because it's a depressant. Don't get me started. Thank you.
Then we can put the
I'm going to get started, okay? If you legalize everything across the board.
Yeah. All right. We're not going down this rabbit hole because that's a whole other topic. Then we could put the entire pharmaceutical industry to death then. But
exactly.
Here's the picture of Diane Sayer listening to a conversation. Our own Neil.
Can I finish my comment?
Apologies, Mike. Go ahead.
Okay, great. My question, I have 2 questions. Are the 5 people that were mentioned, are they also the 5 self-appointed people that will be determining the makeup of the 25th anniversary?
Well, I'm not going to entertain that phrase self-appointed, but those are the 5 people.
Who appointed them?
We came together. Oh, for the commission?
No.
Yeah, the 5 people, they seem to be the 5 that are going to do the anniversary as well, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not into the inflammatory use of the words there, but those are the.
Well, that's the term I've heard bandied around from you all.
Well, if you want to continue to use that term, go right for it. But
yeah,
those are the 5 people.
The you all is not us. We did not say self-appointed.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's the understanding within the movement that there's 5 people that have decided they would be the deciders. But anyways, are they also going to be determining what type of content is at the 25th anniversary, such as, are we going to teach the public that a jet airliner landed inside of the Pentagon and disappeared?
The planning committee is something completely different.
Yeah, and it's not 9/11 101. It's not a course on anything that needs to be known about 9/11. It is a whole different set of people. Pierce Robinson has nothing to do with it. Mick Harrison has nothing to do with it. Richard, of course, Ted, and Roel are, well, actually, no, Roel's not part of the planning committee either.
We just talked to Sander Hicks, who called me. He's like, I just wanted to see if this number still worked. He called us, the day before yesterday, saying, hey, I'm starting to plan something at the Quaker House on the 6th. And we're like, well, maybe we can collaborate. So there's no definitive number of people part of the planning, and we just shared on Turning the Tide if anybody wants to be part of it.
Yeah.
The point of this is to find out ahead of time so that there are no surprises, the month or 2 before it happens.
Right.
There's a lobbying process. That's what I'm after. I want to find out who specifically is going to be deciding so that we can lobby them for truth. I don't want to be a part of a movement that is telling the public that a 757 landed inside the Pentagon. When everyone I show the pictures of the Pentagon and I tell them that, they laugh at me and look at me like I'm stupid. Where's the jet airliner? Where did it go? Where's the hole? So
right,
that's
well,
why.
There you go.
Okay, so
Go to turningthetide911.org. Sign up to receive updates about Turning the Tide 2026 and ways to get involved.
well, I
all I can say.
I do want to address it a little bit. So again, the planning committee for the anniversary is about maybe 10 people. Most of them come to the calls. Some of them are loosely affiliated, like Carol Bruye, because she's on the West Coast and organizes the Northern California Festival every year. She joins because we're not sure yet if she can have an event that's kind of like running parallel to what we're doing or something completely independent. So it's not like black and white and written in stone. Those of us who are doing the nitty gritty of the fundraising and the getting the people to show up,
Trying to find a venue.
That's the venue, all of that stuff, like the grudge of it. Okay. We're a small group of people, about 10 who are helping to do this. Partly including the DC group because they kicked ass last year and they just wanted to get involved in New York, even though they're not in New York. So they're part of it. Other people we're going to have contacts with, Deb Lee, who's in New York, and Sander and Ross, who are our boots on the ground. If we need them to check out a venue or check out or meet someone before we sign a contract or something, that are going to be our eyes and ears. So it's not like there's this big box and you're either in or out. And as far as
the reason, that's your opinion, and I understand that. But the other side of the story is,
finish as far as the subject matter that will be addressed, a lot of it is going to obviously depend on the speakers we get. If we get Dennis Kucinich to come again, then of course he's going to have it more political. And as far as the research goes, the IC is continuing the research on the hijackers. If that part 2 is ready to go, then that's what's going to get addressed. And we really don't know what else can come up in the next 9 months. And we're going to have to roll with the punches on a few things. Because as you know, this time last year, we hadn't even connected with Weldon yet, and look at everything that happened after. So it's a big ball of yarn that we're trying to untangle as we go along. We rely on people who've been doing this for a very long time. The Pentagon specifically, and the reason that anything contrary to what you share, which, by the way, I personally completely agree with you on, and you know that. But the reason that room is given to other perspectives is because there are, out of all the papers that are out there, it weighs 50-50. It's like 27 to 28 or something like that for a plane, for not a plane, right? And a lot of people who are completely agnostic on the subject. So even though to you it's clear, and maybe to me it's clear, that doesn't mean that we can just blanket decide that everything else is complete garbage, or at least we have to address it, and we have to.
Could I respond?
Go ahead.
Everything you said is self-evident. We all get it. We all agree that the way this comes together is kind of in motion. But I eventually want to see a list of names of who are the deciders of the content that will be presented on the 25th anniversary. And I'm still waiting to see the pictures of the 90 tons of the jet airliner that hit the Pentagon. It's got to be in a warehouse somewhere. I just wonder why that was never made available. Maybe get the FOIA of the flight data recorder or pictures of the warehouse that has the 90 tons of the jet airliner, or even 40 tons. Maybe we could just go with 40 tons. I yield.
Do we have that for the Twin Towers?
Let's move on. I think we're just getting anyway. Ellie, go ahead. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, hey guys. To Mike's point, is it possible to get or like identify some of those key names? Because I do think Mike and others do have a fair point if they like to provide input, who do they go to?
Yeah, that's
what that email is.
Again, third
No,
time.
no,
If anybody
no, but sorry.
If you go to turningthetide911.org, down at the bottom, you put your name and email in, and you can get involved with the 26th anniversary event and input. I don't see what the point is putting out exact names. Get your input in.
And Ellie, for the record, you've been invited to be part of the call.
I indeed. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not asking for myself. I'm more asking because I know Mike and others do have their concerns about their perspectives, and I'd just like to see, this issue not continuously come up in this meeting, and for it to be more productive. I think that some people feel like, well, if I just a sign-in list or sign up for updates is like a suggestion box that will be ignored, and it doesn't get me directly to the people who I like to have a conversation with, like a live conversation with, about the content of the event. And I feel like some people may still be disappointed that they don't have the opportunity.
Yeah, I just look. Last year for setting up there's a lot of calls that go on for an hour, 2 hours every week. And the people that want the input, I would love them to put the dedication in that we did of dozens and dozens and dozens of hours of sitting through and listening to about trying to find a venue, asking people the venues, asking how much it's going to cost, asking where we're going to find parking, how are people going to get there, and talking and calling all these places, not just sit there as a sideline quarterback and making pitch. I need you. If you guys want to be involved, invest the time and the heart to be part of this. And rather than just that, and then supply a set of names that people are just going to infight over these names instead of actually providing information and giving suggestions, other than just like turning into a bitch fest.
And if I can add, I mean, this is the first time that I don't even know why this is happening, because when AE has done their yearly anniversary event, did all of you guys just call AE and said, hey, we want to know what you're preparing. We want to know, give us the name.
Dawn of truth. We want to be involved. We want to make sure. Yeah, no,
and
that's
what to do. So why suddenly is this happening?
I think, and again, I'm not coming in here promoting a viewpoint. I'm just trying to understand the landscape of perspectives. What I think has happened is that because A&E has essentially taken a back seat for to be as charitable as I can. And also because the A&E most recently was raising the issue of the Pentagon, that has been a subject of consternation. And of course last year, the Turning the Tide event was part of how do we deal with this consternation. So I feel like, and the thing is, for 20 years or almost, A&E has committedly stayed away from that subject, as well as many other subjects where there is divergence of opinion. I think that's why people then ask questions. Well, are you going to talk about this? Or are you going to talk about that? Because everybody already knew what to expect from A&E. Now nobody knows what to expect from an event like where you have a coalition, and I think that is creating some challenges in terms of alignment and agreement and trust. Yep. I do think your points. I do think the points that you're making are well taken, and that if you want, if it was me, one of the reasons why I haven't been able to join the calls is because I felt like, well, unless I can devote time to not just providing suggestions, but actually taking action on them and doing things, then I don't want to be on a call where and make people feel like I'm just telling people what to do.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I would suggest to everyone else. Like, if you're coming in and you have an idea, then you can start doing work on that idea and bring it to a level where then you can present and say, hey, I think we should do this, or I'm willing to do this, and I can join with you on this, and join one coalition. Like you mentioned a few minutes ago, there's a West Coast event that happens every year. that would happen regardless of what is happening in New York or Washington, D.C. Because they decided I don't need to get orders from Richard or from Ted Walter or anybody else. I'm going to do my thing. And if you guys want to join forces, that's great. I do think others who have their own perspectives should take that as a guidance for the future.
Thank you.
That wasn't really what I wanted to discuss, but since I came after Mike, I felt like worth raising that.
Real quick, add something.
And I just have one sentence after that.
Yeah, like we said, Sandra Hicks called us out of the clear blue and says, hey, maybe we can collaborate. We're going to do something. Maybe we can collaborate. Carol Brule calling. Right now, she said that she does not have the person that used to do their streaming is no longer alive or around. So there's an opening. So here was one instance where what we would do with the room. If you guys were in the planning call right now, we'd saying, okay, is there anybody that has a connection with somebody that would be good or be able to help Carol Brule in California with streaming some event from there where we could possibly, send it out to them for a segment of it or whatnot. So these are the things we then need to flesh out.
Yeah, and the only thing I wanted to say was, in the end, no matter what we put together, just like the meme said, we're going to be damned if we do and damned if we don't. So there is a portion where we will have to say to hell with it and just go with what we feel collectively by consensus is the best way to go.
Consensus.
So it's yeah, that was big.
Just in conclusion, TAP requested officially to be included in the steering committee to have a representative, but we were denied without even it being considered. We were told no. So it's just not very
right.
What's that?
Well, I think, Mike, I know I respect your perspective on this. You guys have done a lot at TAP. I think the suggestion is that this committee isn't like a Jedi Council where people sit up and take votes on what we're going to talk about, what we're not going to talk about. It's more of a strike team, right? There's things we need to do. Who can do X? Who can do Y? Who can do Z to make this goal possible? So I think if people come in from a perspective, how can I help, rather than how can I provide input, I think that will make a difference.
Ellie, that was
because the input is vital. That's what's so important. But anyways, it looks like it's not going to change. Transparency is not going to happen. Maybe a month before the event, but that's okay. I yield. I'm done.
Ellie, I want to make a final point before I go to Raul, and I want to get through the hands.
Yeah.
And I gotta
Yeah. Sorry. I did want to ask, my question was for Raul and you guys, and maybe you're about to discuss it, I just want to see if there had been any plans or movements on reaching out to those 9/11 firefighters that are on Graham McQueen's list. And then one specific note was related to Richard Bielicki. I had been talking to Richard Gage recently about, which 9/11 survivor witnesses might be worth promoting to the interview circuit, and I proposed Richard Bielicki as one of them who may be interested in and has value given his level of involvement on that day. So I was just curious your thoughts or Raul's thoughts on that.
Go ahead, Raul. Thank you, Ellie.
It's the floor is yours, Raul.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm one of those self-appointed 5 prima donna assholes that everyone's asking about. It's a joke. I don't know how I ended up on the 5. I just want to chime in on some things that the people were talking about to give some clarification. And I'm only speaking for me. I'm not speaking for Ted or Piers or Mick or who's the other one?
The name you're looking for.
Richard. Yeah. So again, here's how I see things as being one of these 5 people, which I didn't want to be one of the 5. I don't know how it ended up being that way, but we do need Ted to organize it. That is definitely his strength, to capitalize, organize, corral all this information. So I see him as a real vital leader. I see Richard's role as probably the best collective of information that we pretty much all agree on. He's been around forever. There's very few things that he believes that most people in this group would take issue with. We're pretty much in consensus, but he is our main wealth of immediate information. Mick is handling a legal side of it, which we need to have. And Piers is a technical writer. I don't know him that well, but I assume that he is going to be authoring, putting into the word all this information. How I see this, and let me get to this first point first. This committee of 5, this PSI group, we don't have anything to do with the planning of turning the tide for September 11th right now. It's not part of our discussion. We're going to have enough to do just to get together this document to present it to Senator Johnson, much less try to run and plan a September 11th event. So I think that Gene is right. If you want to be a part of it, you email Gene, and there's going to be a lot of people that will certainly contribute. But we are not, this 5 people, the PSI group, is not controlling or dictating or anything like that what's going to be the content of the September 11th event. I know I will be speaking this time. I can't be on the PSI committee and then not speak at this event. Excuse me, I've been fighting this cough, so hope my throat holds out. So that being said, the five is not the key player in planning the September 11th event. It hasn't even really come up in much discussion at all. We have enough to do. What we're doing in this document is really repackaging the information that we already have and agree upon. We're not reinventing new stuff. There is going to be some new factors. For example, currently they have done some more testing with flight simulators, and this information wasn't available before, and that part will be included in it because it's new information that's coming out. But basically that's pointing to that it's highly unlikely that these planes were manually piloted, that it points to more that they were remote controlled for all the events. That part is new. Something on the cell phones or the communication with the people who are making phone calls will be included. But other than that, at least as far as Tower 1, 2, and 7, there's really no new information. As far as the Pentagon goes, and we haven't given much time to the Pentagon, we're not really avoiding it. This is my feeling on the Pentagon and even Flight 93. We don't have a lot of information on that. The Pentagon, I'm sure there's tons of video that can help clear up some of the discussion, but we don't have access to that video. I've seen David Chandler's presentation, and he's showing me, look, it's a plane and this and that. Okay, if you tell me it's there, David, I believe you. I can't tell if it's a plane or a missile, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time going into that uncharted area, because my personal feeling is that if we can demonstrate that 1, 2, and 7 were all manipulated events like we all agree on, it's going to implicate the other 2 events. You can't separate them at that point. But to include the Pentagon as part of this spearhead effort, I think there's a lot of unanswered questions. We don't have the video evidence, and I think the military and the Pentagon is withholding a lot of information that would be helpful and clear up a lot of that. But really, we're coming into January. That gives us less than 9 months to put together all this information. To spend time on the Pentagon, really, it's probably not really an achievable goal because it would take so long. I read, and help me here, Gene, that there's 2 publications that came out of AE that was written by Ted Walter. One of them was the disinformation packet. What was that one?
Beyond Misinformation.
What was that?
Beyond Misinformation.
Yeah, and then there was another one on Building 7. There were 2.
That was the request for correction.
Yeah, the request for correction.
The request for correction. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, but the Ted Walter's document there, I mean, that's a template of what we're doing. It includes a lot of the information that we're just repackaging for the senator. I thought that my the presidential document, that was supposed to accomplish the same thing. We condensed all the information to present an argument that was palatable for the average person to consume and understand. And that's not enough. He's almost making us go back and do more information. But the crux of what this 5 is doing, yes, this document right here, this is an excellent document. And I think it's really the template of what we're doing. And we're reformulating another document. The end game, though, is not to have a document that has all the information. It's still to request an investigation and get that on the table. It's going to present more information, but it's not the end-all document that everything you need to know about September 11th is right here in these pages. I don't think that that's what we're doing. Again, I'm not speaking for the other 4, but I don't see it as that. I see it as we're repackaging the information that we have and following Johnson's recommendations. And then 2 things. What Johnson said, we're going off his marching orders, and you people need to understand this. He says, you're only here because of the firefighters and the families. So people that are saying, well, we're not representing these 5, we're not representative of the entire truth movement, we're not trying to be. And I agree that we're not, because to me, the whole truth movement would include the Pentagon and Flight 93. And I know we're not touching on these areas very much. And we're not trying to be that. But Johnson wants, it's got to be firefighter driven and family driven. And that's where I come in. I'm the point man for the fire service. And this information has to get through to the fire service. We're still trying to untap that source of social networking within the fire service. And the leaders, they understand what I'm doing. They know what I'm doing. I'm keeping them informed. But once it becomes major news where they cannot ignore it, then they will take over and push this thing through. It's going to happen with the firefighters, and you guys cannot lose sight of that. You have been doing this for years, and this is as far as you've gotten. I appreciate all your work and all your perspectives, but the bottom line is you were not able to land this thing until the fire service point, which happened to be my document, got the attention of Weldon. So I'm still at the tip of the spear. I don't want to be that guy, but I'm that guy. And so we're going to keep pushing forward that way, because the firefighters have skin in the game and the families have skin in the game. All right. We have not heard from a lot of families that lost lives at the Pentagon. Just haven't. I'm not really that aware of it. But from the New York Ground Zero, yeah, we have lots of people in the wings waiting to chime in. So yes, this is not a group that is representing the entire truth movement. It is a group that is representing firefighters and families. And we're pushing that through on the avenue that is giving us the biggest momentum, and that is with Senator Ron Johnson. Now, we cannot take everybody's view. We've done, you guys have been doing that for 20 years. And when I did the presidential,
24
okay, there you go.
years plus.
24, exactly. So a lot of this information has already been vetted, and we're pulling the best information and putting it forward. It's not secretive, but we can't address everybody's concern. And the reason why I haven't even been here is I got to pace myself. I still have a life. I got things that I do. I have other projects, and so I'm pacing myself with doing what I need to do. And my time's coming where I'm going to be doing a lot more writing here in the very near future. In fact, in the weeks to come, in addition to these other articles, it's now time for that. I'm just pacing myself. So you're not seeing me involved in every meeting that comes out, the Boston meeting and the War Room. We're not hiding. There's nothing to hide. So I hope I put a lot of the concerns to rest. The Pentagon, I know it's a very it's a passionate subject, but there's so much information there that is not ready yet to present. And not Weldon, but Johnson wanted irrefutable evidence. That's what he said. It has to be irrefutable, easy to understand. And really the momentum on that is with the 3 towers. And I'm even going out further than when I was even last year by now talking about Tower 1 and 2. I understand more about 1 and 2, that I can push these issues forward to the fire service on why Tower 1 and 2 didn't fall the way they're telling us. It takes time to get that, but you know what? We only have 9 months left. And so we can only accomplish so much, and we have to have realistic, achievable goals that we can accomplish in this time frame window. And unfortunately, it's not going to include a lot. I'm not going to say none, but it's not going to include a lot of the information related to the Pentagon or Flight 93, because we just don't have that irrefutable evidence. We have speculation, we have assumptions, we have some, but it's an incomplete picture, and we're not going to have a complete picture in 9 months. So we're not going to spend time on that. That's about all I can really say on it.
We need you.
What's that?
We need you.
Yeah. So
well, I'm just saying we're doing the best we can, but you know, I don't want to lose. We need everybody, but really we're just repackaging the information that you guys have already been working on. And so, and you know, everybody wants to chime in. You only have so much time. You can't have everybody on the committee. This 5 is working really well. And Ted is the liaison. He doesn't want to address everybody's concern right now. But as we formalize everything, I'm sure they're going to present it so that here's what we're going to present forward. There's going to be no surprises. It's not an elitist, secretive group. So I will appear here as much as I can. And Richard is here a lot. He's not here today.
Hey,
but that's kind of how I see this group of 5. Yeah. And so don't make it more than what it is, and don't draw assumptions that somehow, you know, we're, you know, self-appointed or this or that. I don't know how I got on it. Just worked out that way. But the key thing to remember is you need the firefighters, you need the families. And that's what we're focusing on. We got to come from that perspective, because that's what's going to get us in. And that's what Johnson wants to carry forward.
Thank
so
you.
I hope that kind of clarifies some of the concerns. And we are not coordinating the September 11th event. I'm sure we'll be involved. I'm sure I'll be speaking, Ted will be speaking, but you know, whoever that planning committee is, it's not the 5.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just want to say, Raul Angulo, Captain Raul Angulo, 38 years in the firefighter field. He has got a lot of experience there, has really helped us get ahead with a lot of the firefighters in the FDNY. He personally knows Chief Visconti and a lot of the firefighters were involved in that area. And as Kurt Weldon said, you know, the firefighters have a 98% approval rating in the nation. So this is truly an untapped resource. We really need to break through. And a lot of the guys that were involved in 9/11 are retiring now, so their pensions won't be threatened anymore. So we should hopefully start seeing some headway. So thank you.
And somebody, I forget who mentioned Ron Balicki. I talk with, Rich Balicki. I talk with him every week. And so, yeah, he's willing to come forward and says what he says. I think you'll hear more from Ron. He was already on one episode of Behind the Badge with Samantha Horwitz. And I think you'll be hearing more from Ron. He's not hiding.
Richard.
Or Richard, yeah. Balicki, anyway.
All right, I got the hands. I got to get through because I want to wrap up here.
In 2 minutes.
Yeah,
6 minutes.
6 minutes. But thank you for your input there. And 2 weeks ago, Raul wasn't even really thrilled about going to New York, and then you finally said, "Okay, now that I'm all involved here, I'm gonna have to speak in New York." So thank you.
But I'm not going to anything else, Gene. Telling you right now.
You're going to come with us and give out flyers on the corner of Vesey and Church.
All right, let's go to Carl. Thanks, Raul. Carl?
Thank you. Mostly I have questions here for Raul. Raul, I'm not sure we've met. As a custom special agent, I was among those assigned to go through the finer rubble of number 7 after 9/11. I was interviewed telephonically by PSI. Matthew Johnson was my point of contact, although I was interviewed telephonically by 3. My question is, I explained both to the committee and even before that, back in June, to Ron Johnson, that I have I think, successfully evaded a non-disclosure agreement that was imposed upon me when I left the government in 2007. I wrote under protest before I signed that document. I don't feel bound by it with respect to all the, the treason, et cetera, of 9/11. So when I told Ron Johnson this, and I told PSI this, my expectation was Ron Johnson would make an announcement on a podcast like to the whole world, hey, if you're out there and you were a 9/11 responder, if you feel like you're under an NDA that you can't talk about what you did as a responder or whatever, that you're free from that. We'll protect you. So could you please convey that to Ron Johnson, or I ask you, why the hell hasn't Ron Johnson made that announcement if he wants people who are actually involved both as responders or maybe in some other aspect of 9/11 to feel freed from their NDAs?
I will pass that on to Richard Gage. He's the main contact right now with the senator's office, and I will relay that. If Richard was here,
who is the primary contact with PSI that you all have? Is it all through Richard?
Richard and Ted, but mainly Richard. Yeah.
But you haven't have the name of somebody with PSI? For me, it's a guy named Matthew Johnson is the one who called me up. It's been interesting when I was called on July 15th, he called me from a number that you're not able to call back to. It's like, it's a one-way telephone.
Yeah, no, the ones who's been the primary contact with the senator's office, and I don't know the names because it's like too much information. If I'm not communicating with them, I'm not paying attention. But Richard's the main contact. And but I will bring that up. We're actually having a meeting on the 30th, and I will bring that up. That you also have to remember there's a lot of other global events that are going on, and Senator Johnson also made it really clear that the vaccine injured issue, that's his big deal, and that unfortunately comes before the September 11th deal, and he only has so much time. And
I'm unaware that there was.
Hey, Ralph, let me finish.
No, let me finish. I was unaware that there was any NDA whistleblower protection for the COVID hearings that he did. So we should start there. Maybe just a blanket whistleblower protection legislation instead of just for specific for 9/11. Go ahead and finish your point, Carl, and then I have to move on because I wanted to end in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Still got 4 hands.
Raul, it's very important to me that we get past just disproving the official narrative and saying, there obviously something else was going on with the 3 towers, and that there is abundant evidence that 9/11 was false flag terrorism. And Richard sometimes has said that there is going to be some discussion of false flag terrorism like Operation Northwoods, but in reality, in the great scheme of history, I've been trying to persuade that Senator Johnson should, realizing that Israel is implicated, the dancing Israelis, all the Israelis sent back to Israel by Chertoff, et cetera, that ultimately he should receive testimony from the USS Liberty survivors who can testify that they were told after the fact.
Okay, so about 9/11. Thank you. We're going to go.
There was a cooperative event between the U.S.
Thanks. If you just don't know how to get a message, that's how it's going to be. Jack, go ahead. I'm trying to wrap up. Keep it short, please. Waiting for you, Jack. You got to come off on mute.
Can you hear me now?
You're really garbled, brother.
Oh boy. Well, Raul has stolen my thunder. I think the firefighters should send what they want to send. Richard can send what he wants to send, and we don't need to fight over these things. We need to get stuff out, not fight over them.
Basically saying everyone should send in what they need to send in, and we shouldn't fight. I dig it. Thank you, Jack. Let's go to Chuck.
Hey, thanks. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
So just to be clear, and it took me a while to get this, that there's 3 events out there. There's Turning the Tide, there's the Ron Johnson hearing, the 25th anniversary. And I think I need to kind of keep all of those separate things in mind.
2 events. 2.
There's 2 events. Well, technically, is there going to be another Turning the Tide in 2020?
Turning the Tide is the 25th anniversary event.
Yes.
Okay. and Turning Tide is going to host the 25th, and that'll be in New York City in September.
Yes,
and
sir.
then Ron, so there's 2 events. Good. Okay. All right.
Well, no, we don't have a scheduled hearing with Ron Johnson yet.
No, but I understand that. But for the purposes of Truth Action Project, if they wanted to advance a position, then we have two. If we wanted to make a seminal proposal for Turning the Tide, 25th anniversary, if we wanted to make a proposal to Ron Johnson, this is all I'm saying is that these are for our planning purposes. We should conceptualize 2 events, and I get that. And I also just wanted to say right off, I understand that the 25th anniversary, the Turning of the Tide, the Ron Johnson, that these are not democratic process. These are groups of individuals that are concerned and are, doing what they think is right. And I also appreciate Mike's desire for a democracy, if you will, but that's not necessarily in the cards here. And that the better way that we should think about this is that everybody who has an opinion, I think the person who has just made a remark, is that we're all free to communicate what we think is important and lobby for our perspectives. And I'm going to do that right now. And I kind of agree with Mike Zarzano that if there's at the Turning of the Tide event, if that conference used time, dedicated time to somehow feeding the obvious false narrative of an airplane, and that you have to wonder about that. What's up with that? That's not advancing a truth movement.
I agree.
So I want to also say that I personally am, in my agnosticism, am not using the word explosions and explosives, nor am I using the word collapse. 3, can the truth movement agree that the 9/11 event and the cover-up qualify as a state crime? Commissioner Goya opened his remark, how do you say his name?
Joya.
Okay. Commissioner Joya opened his remarks at the Turning of the Tide with an allegation of treason. So it's available to the leaders in the movement to adopt language that jumps to the jugular of truth that we have been preyed upon and attacked. So I think that's my remark that I want to share. And that's where I'm at with all of this. And I'm looking forward to TAP. We're having a TAP talk about, what is the evidence? What is the irrefutable evidence? I mean, okay, that's a big, wide open topic. Sure. What evidence are we going to look at? Okay, so I'm excited about these very interesting conversations. Okay, I'm done. Thank you.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you.
I'm going to wish you.
All right.
Michael, you're
okay. Just go ahead.
I'm signing off. I'll be here, but I'm gonna just wish everyone a nice happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you. Bob, if you can keep it short, and I'm gonna go around the room.
No, we can't go around the room.
I'm gonna go around the room because that's what I do, and
yeah.
Everybody keep it short. Go ahead.
Real short. It was covered earlier. I should have taken down my hand. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chuck. Now I'm gonna go around the room. If you can keep it 10 seconds or less, otherwise we're going to be here for 20 minutes, and I only want to be here for like 5 minutes. So, final thoughts. Mike, Cook, anything for the group wrapping up? You're muted, brother. Go, try again. You're still muted.
There goes 10 seconds.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Mike. Raul, anything for the group?
Just Happy New Year to everybody, and let's stay together. Let's not self-destruct and have confidence in the 5. We're going to be transparent. We're going to give you as much information as we can in time. So
thank you, Raul. Happy New Year. Brian, anything for the group? Al, anything for the group?
Happy New Year, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Yep. Thank you. Mike Zarzano, anything for the group?
Yeah, it's all about a united voice, not bickering or arguing, but a united voice. Tuesday night, Tap Talk Town Hall will discuss best evidence. examples for Ron Johnson.
Right on. Succinct. I like it. Thank you. Magnus, anything for the group?
Happy New Year, and thank you to everybody, and keep up the great work, and watch episode 5 of 9/11 Crimes in the Courtroom tonight, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you.
Well, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, but close.
Oh yeah, sorry, it's too, yeah, they are right. It's very difficult to hang on, Gene. Thank you.
You're going to be like 4 in the morning there. That's going to be crazy. Thank you, Magnus. Roy, anything for the group?
Yes, actually, I have a screenshot to share. Is that possible?
Right. It's just I'm trying to wrap up here in the next couple of minutes. Anything, just quick parting thing?
No, it was just that the doozy business. You know, the screenshot which would show that the captions were DOOZY, and that's what I heard. So I thought it was doozy instead of DEWSY, but it doesn't really matter because it's disparaging anyway.
Yep. Thank you. Happy New Year. Jane, anything for the group?
Were you asking me? I'm sorry.
Yep.
Was that Jane? Jane?
Yep. Anything?
Me? Not much. I'm so grateful to be a part of this exploration and all of the disagreements that come up, and it's all valuable, and I will stay tuned as long as I am able. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jane. Happy New Year. Carl, Mr. Spores, anything for the group?
Yeah. A lot of people that got a late start on 9/11 truths don't realize that Jimmy Walter, who put on the 3rd anniversary event in New York City, he was spending a huge amount of money running full-page ads in some of the major U.S. newspapers, highlighting that Building 7 was a controlled demolition.
Wow.
I mean, he was out there years before anybody on that one. And that's how we hooked up initially, and that's why I was at his event on the 3rd anniversary.
What was his name?
He actually did. Huh?
What was his name?
Jimmy Walter.
Hmm.
He's part of the Walter family, Walter Homes out of Florida. When his father died, he left him a fortune. I know he has spent over $6 million of his own money. Yeah.
Okay.
That event that he put on in New York City, the tickets were free. You know, he paid for the hotels for a lot of the panelists. He also, after they filmed the event, they produced millions of DVDs, and they were shipped all over the world. Anybody that wanted one, free of charge, including the shipping.
Wow. See, this is stuff I'm amazed that we didn't know this.
Yeah, I did.
And he bought me lunch.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't even want me at his event. Jimmy's a liberal. I'm a well-known conservative. But his staff convinced him. He said, "You have got to hear what this guy's going to present regarding the Caspian Basin." Because that, like the PowerPoint that I sent you, once you get your head around those around the details in there. Even one of the investigations I was doing a long time ago, I kept looking for who is Baker and Bott's client, Western Acquisitions Inc., and who is Remington Holdings Limited. There was nothing available. But years later, and when I was researching those two names, a name kept coming up, Helm International.
Yeah, we're getting trying to wrap up. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I'll make it real quick. That name did not surface again until 4 years ago in our investigation, when finally the president of Helm International is in Florida. And Mike can tell you, I sent him a name and I sent him a link from Open Corporates. You would not believe what's going on in Miami. I mean, we literally uncovered a CIA operations center down there. And that same guy, he did a deposition in a $170 million lawsuit at his law firm. And it was used without challenge in bankruptcy. That bankruptcy ties directly back to the World Trade Center and the World Trade Center Security Company. But here's what he did. He
Yeah.
stated that two men that are in prison right now.
Carl, they're like, yeah.
Now, two men that are in prison right now for 20 years. He said that they control these three entities. And once we started following the trail on those three entities, the third one was alive.
This is
this
too
attorney
much for us to absorb at the end of the show when we needed to
like a 20-second
10 minutes.
Well, I'll end it in 5 seconds.
Okay.
Who controls one of those three entities is Marvin P. Bush.
Yep.
This attorney lied for him down in Florida to cover for him.
Thank you.
So this is the type of evidence we've been on that other people have never even heard of.
Yes.
So anyway, y'all have a happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yeah, there's a lot of 9/11 Truth activists will say Marvin Bush owned the security company. No, he was a principal in the security company, and there's a lot to unpack there that we can't get to right now.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for that.
Yeah, we
People-
need
You're welcome.
Yep.
Yeah, we have found over 30 lawsuits that point the way to what really happened.
Yep. And Wirt Walker. Yes, thank you. Lou, anything for the group wrapping up?
Take care.
You too. Thank you. Happy New Year. Lou, anything for the group? You're muted. Let me try to help you. Ask to unmute. Maybe that'll help you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hey, I've got an amusing rhyme for us, a Christmas rhyme we can use next year until Epiphany on this is the 6th of January. Anyway, here it is. Hail Mary, to be merry. Hail yeah.
Thanks, Lou.
That was cute.
Who's next? Benjamin. Anything for the group?
No, I just want to say it's pretty cool to see Captain Raul here, and thank you, Gene and Sandra. And it's great that you guys are doing this, because I'm realizing after being alone on my perspectives, even though there's disagreement, just like that there's people paying attention to this is psychologically really beneficial, and I'm glad everybody's working to fight for what they believe is the truth, and it's a beautiful thing. So thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Love
Happy
those
New Year.
words.
Yep.
Thank you.
JB, anything for the group, sir?
Well, it stops here.
I'm sorry, JB. I'll talk a little slower. People aren't understanding me. JB.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you. Jerry, you got any mic back? Yes or no? I don't think so. Sean, anything for the group?
Well, just what a sloppy cover up. Happy New Year, everybody.
Amen. Thanks. Happy New Year. Susie Bonham Craig, good to see you.
Yes, first time on this call, and we didn't really get a chance to speak to you, and we're rushing through this one.
But if you had, this is the point where just any 10-second parting thought. If you can find the mute button.
Minute wrap up.
Let me try to help you if I can ask to unmute. Maybe I'll come back to you if you're searching for that unmute button. Ross, anything for the group wrapping up?
Yes. Okay. So, yes, I would have to say, last week Richard was asked if, he thought he should mention to Ron that he's not really a representative of the larger 9/11 Truth movement. And Richard agreed. Yeah, he says, maybe I really should bring that up. He won't have time to bring that up, I'm sure, but maybe it's not so important anyway. Raul, I would mention to you that your group of 5 is kind of a minor player actually in the 9/11 Truth movement. If you look at the whole, history.
Go ahead.
And there have been a lot of mistakes over the years, and the most recent years, as we know. Spike Lee
ending on a good
20th
note.
anniversary was a big one. So anyway, the point is, a lot of the things you said, like we all agree on the evidence Richard's presenting. We agree that the evidence is good, but Richard doesn't necessarily know what he's talking about with that evidence. He knows what I think. And you might bring that up.
How are you ending the call on a bad note, brother? What's going on here? Like, why would you?
Well, I don't know if it's a bad note. I want to encourage him to do the right thing.
This is not encouraging anybody.
To do the right thing, but I don't want him to be embarrassed by a 5-year-old or a 5th grader. in this thing, and Ron Johnson will be furious if he's legitimate, but I doubt Ron Johnson was legitimate. So Raul needs to ask Richard, is there any problem with your presentation of the dust evidence or any other evidence? See what he says, please.
Well, I mean, really, the evidence that has been gathered by many and verified and re-verified, it's just the best evidence we have. And nobody claims to have everything or to have it 100% right. We are handicapped because we don't have access to a lot of the information. That's what we're looking for, is an ability to get in that door and get that information. So, you know, nobody's doubting the sincerity. Is it going to be perfect? No, we're not looking for absolute perfection because we never get off the ground.
Any final thought?
On that note, let's just focus on what we have and have faith and trust in each other. We've been doing this a long time. Hold each other's hands through the process, encourage and support each other, and it's a new year next year. So,
yep. Did I get everybody in the room? Anybody I did not get? All right, I'm gonna. Who's that?
Hi, it's Susie here. I just wanted to say thank you, Gene and Sandra. I just figured out how to unmute the button. Just that Richard encouraged me to start coming on the call, so I'm sorry I arrived late, but now that I'm free on Sundays, I'll be looking forward to continuing. Thank you so much. Have a happy New Year.
Thanks, Susie. My final thought here, 2025 came, everybody could please get the feedback here. I think it's Jack. There we go. 2025 came and went. What happened in 2025? We had all kinds of the shakeup at AE 9/11 Truth. We had Kurt Weldon get the information, present documents, to get on to Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson doing the 9/11 series. Take it or leave it.
Exposure.
Lots of exposure there. Ron Johnson saying that he's going to start a hearing. We did the 2025 event. AE did their event. And things continue to move forward. 2025 was pretty wild for the 9/11 Truth movement. So we got 2026 coming up. I love all of you for what you're doing. We all might not agree, but we all want truth, however we see that. And I just asked that you guys have a fantastic, or would like to wish you all a happy new year. And let's look forward to 2026. So have a good evening and a great week. Let's talk the next
year.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Happy New Year.
See you next year.
Happy New Year. See you next year.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.